So to all who are watching right now, good morning. I would also like to thank PAP Research in Psychology Special Interest Group for this opportunity to share my research on developing a scale measuring Tagasalo personality. So the basic question that I hear whenever someone asks me what is my research all about is what is Tagasalo? So basically, Tagasalo was first introduced by Dr. Maria Lourdes Carandang, also known as Dr. Hani Carandang. It was first presented as a syndrome, but later on it was considered as a personality. It is a personality because it assumes to develop over time in social and family contexts. So basically, Tagasalo means to catch, with the prefix taga means the one who catches. So when used colloquially, the word refers to the one who takes care or the one who comes to the rescue. Also, mananalo is the synonym of tagasalo. So now, the next question is how tagasalo personality develop. So basically, when the baby is born, he has a genetically predisposed personality characteristics. However, the changes in personality can be formed by the environment. So using the Bronfenbrenner's ecological system theory, in the child's formative age, family is the most influential and important in the personality development. So with the family, parents serves as the primary agents of socialization. The infants may acquire patterns of behaviors from the parents, and parents may also impart teachings, values, and belief indirectly or directly. Aside from parents, siblings also may play important role in the socialization of an individual. They are considered to be the first partners and may have the longest relationship in human life. So through this socialization, family belief, behavior, and values are imparted to the child. Also, in the family, aside from socialization, each of the family members fulfill different roles. In a traditional family settings, the father is the breadwinner while the mother does the housekeeping and takes care of the children. Then usually, older siblings are more responsible while the younger siblings are expected to obey older members of the family. However, family in different circumstances, each members may play a different role than the traditional family dynamics. When the family faces anxiety or emotional tension, one among the children may step in to reduce the anxiety in the family. Different circumstances may include parents regularly fights with each other, emotionally unavailable parent, parent separation, a parent working abroad or away from family, or when there is a problematic sibling. Now, the child in the family who assumes to be the family caretaker is called Tagasalo. So, what do we currently know about Tagasalo? So, Dr. Karandang identified two types of Tagasalo, the non-compulsive and the compulsive Tagasalo. For the non-compulsive Tagasalo, it is driven by compassion and care for his or her loved ones and the need for harmony among them. It is a healthy Tagasalo. It helps out of the willingness and loved by his or her parents and respected by his or her siblings. This type of Tagasalo can also set reasonable boundaries and expectations of self. While on the other hand, compulsive Tagasalo is also driven by compassion, but there is also an additional factor which is the need to find personal significance and external assurance. It is counterintuitive because of the constant salo. Public appearance is that there is no need to take care for the tagasalo. So this type of tagasalo is giving a message to others that he or she is in need of help or pananalo from others, telling them, saluhin niyo naman ako in a subtle way. But usually, these people find it difficult to receive salo from others because these individuals are used to giving it automatically and unconsciously. In a research conducted by Dr. Odarbe in 2004, She also identified 9 patterns of behaviors of Tagasalo, which are: 1. The person has a sense of responsibility, the ability to listen, ability to mediate, the need for harmony, the need for control, considering parents as the central, capacity for caring, or Tagasalo as a sibling, and the capacity for emotional distance. So what now? So, Tagasalo is an interesting topic to explore. However, the development of Tagasalo personality in scientific research is slow due to the scars in the literature. So one possible reason is because there are no published scale that will measure Tagasalo personality. So now the aim of this study is to create a scale that will measure Tagasalo personality. So the main objective of this study is to validate and possibly extend the dimensions of Tagasalo personality. The second objective is to create a measure of Tagasalo that is valid and reliable. So here are the methods in this research. So this research undergone a two-phase sequential exploratory design. The first phase utilizes FGD and the second phase was to check the psychometric properties using an exploratory factor analysis and inter-item correlation. So for the item generation, there were two groups for the focus group discussion. Group 1 has 4 members while the second group has 3 members. The participants are ages 18 to 22 years old. These are students from University of San Carlos, Cebu. So before I conducted the FGT, I created a checklist of behavior based on Dr. Odarbe's 9 pattern of behavior of a Tagasalo. Out of 200 college students from University of San Carlos who answered the Tagasalo checklist, only 11 respondents qualified to be an FGD participants. Out of the 11 qualified respondents, only 7 respondents voluntarily joined the focus group discussion. So from the two separate focus group discussion, the qualitative data was analyzed through thematic analysis. And these are the themes that surfaced. 1. Responsible. Most respondents says that it is automatic to assume responsibility. Second, loving child. Most respondents says that they don't want to cause problem in the family and they also don't like having family conflict. 3. Sensitive to the feelings of others. Most of them tends to put the feelings of others first and set aside their own feelings. And lastly is the capacity for caring. They automatically take care of other people around them. So I use the inductive method in creating the items for the scale as this study aims to validate and possibly extend the dimension of the Tagasalo personality. So out of these themes that has surfaced, 194 items was created. So these are the sample item for each themes. For example, for the responsibility, I believe that the people trust me when they give me responsibilities. For loving child, an example is I always do the things that will make my parents happy. For sensitive to the feelings of others, an example is I offer help to other people because I know the feeling of having no one and I don't like other people experience the same feeling. And lastly, for caring for others, I sometimes feel burdened at the same time it feels fulfilling whenever I help other people. So now the next step was the content validity. So there were 6 experts who reviewed my provisional scale. So, these experts are practicing licensed psychologists with a minimum of 5 years experience in conducting family therapy. They are considered experts since Filipino family psychologists have more understanding on the dynamics between Filipino families as most of them have conducted studies on a traditional and non-traditional Filipino family. So following Losch's formula, the CVR was computed and the accepted CVR formula for 6 expert is 99, meaning all experts should agree that the items is essential. So from 194 pool of items in the provisional scale, only 21 items remained. Now, the next step is the pilot testing. Now, having a 21 item provisional scale, using Google Form, the scale was distributed online. A total of 706 respondents answered the scale. However, those who answered with ages 17 and below and 23 and above were excluded in the study. Out of the 706 respondents, only 565 respondents coming from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao were retained. 565 respondents now is an adequate example. So, the next step is to check the internal consistency of the scale. The correlation result shows that the scale is reliable with a Cronbach alpha value of 0.86. An item total correlation was also conducted to check the items that indicates a very good discrimination. Those values with less than 0.35 are deleted from the provisional scale. So now, from 21 items, it was reduced to 16 items. After checking its validity, the next step is to do the exploratory factor analysis to check its construct validity. So item with cross-loading of more than 0.20 difference may indicate that the item is distinct and uncorrelated to other factors. This means that the item will be retained. So those items with cross-loading factor of below 0.20 will be deleted as it may indicate that the factors are sharing the same variable and as a result, it is hard to make those factors be distinct and represent separate concepts. So in this study, EFA was run 3 times until all items are distinct and uncorrelated to other factors. So now, from 16 items, the number of items is now reduced to 12 items with 2 factors or 2 dimension. So here, in this study, it indicates that Tagasalo is a personality variable manifested in prosocial behavior wherein the individual generally takes care of other people around them. Basically, Tagasalo has a tendency to automatically assume responsibility. For example, in school activities, they are always assigned as a school leader, and at home, mostly they are in charge when parents are not available. Also, they have the tendency to feel responsible for others and will always offer help in resolving other people's problem. Also, Tagasalo usually gives importance to the welfare of their parents and other members of the family. Because of this, the Tagasalo behaves in ways that will not cause tension in the family. So, Tagasalo are also sensitive to the feelings of other people and can easily empathize with others. And lastly, Tagasalo is aware that taking care of other people is tiring and yet they feel satisfied and happy whenever they can help and take care of others. So now, after conducting an exploratory factor analysis, uh, this themes was reduced into 2 dimensions that can measure Tagasalo personality. These dimensions are tagasalo ng ibang tao or taking care of other people at tagasalo ng hindi ibang tao or taking care of the family. This can be supported by the Filipino Psychology Core Construct Kapwa, in which according to NANG 2019, where tagasalo came from, Kapwa means togetherness and refers to the community or simply not doing things alone. Kapwa or pakikipagkapwa does not only talk about maintaining the interpersonal relationship but are most concerned with how the person treats a fellow human being. So in this dimension, Tagasalo basically takes care of people regardless if they are other people or a family member. So the first dimension is about taking care of other people that is not a family member. Here, the finding shows that the Tagasalo are willing to offer help and serve other people, but within the limits of their capabilities. While the other dimension, which is hindi ibang tao, focuses on the initiative of Tagasalo to take care of and help their parents and other members of the family. They value maintaining harmony in the family and are willing to listen whenever someone in the family has a problem. The Tagasalo in this dimension tends to be more connected and more concerned with people they are taking care of and are more likely to go beyond their limitations. So the other objective of this scale is to establish the validity and reliability of the constructed Tagasalo personality scale. After undergoing the process of content and construct validity, it shows that this scale is valid to measure Tagasalo personality. The FGD respondents claims to be their family caretaker wherein their experiences was the basis in creating the items of this scale. It also shows that being tagasalo does not only manifest in their interaction in the family, but is also being manifested even outside the family interaction. This is also validated in the conduct of the EFA, wherein the two dimensions measuring tagasalo are taking care of other people and taking care of family members. Regarding with the reliability of the scale, it has a coefficient alpha of 0.86 for the full scale and coefficient alpha of 0.85 for taking care of people and 0.78 for taking care of the family. This suggests that the items measuring Tagasalo personality scale have relatively high internal consistency and may indicate that this scale is reliable in measuring Tagasalo personality. So in conclusion, Tagasalo proposed a new model wherein Tagasalo or pananalo behavior is not only limited into taking care of the family, but it can also be extended to taking care of other people around them. With this, it shows that Tagasalo has two dimensions. One is taking care of other people and the other one is taking care of the family. A valid and reliable 12-item Tagasalo personality scale was also created. So these are the items that composes the Tagasalo personality scale. So for the limitation and recommendations, considering a realistic time frame to finish the scale development, here are some of the limitations I have experienced. The items were generated out of the personal experiences of the focus group discussion participants ages 18 to 22 years old from Cebu City. As a recommendation for this limitation, it could be better to consider conducting another FGD to different groups such as age, socio-economic status, and regional groups as they may experience Tagasalo differently. The findings can lead to additional items for the existing scale. In this study, only content and construct validity was utilized. As per recommendation, utilizing other validating procedures such as test the convergent and discriminant validity of the Tagasalo scale in order to establish the uniqueness of the scale in measuring Tagasalo personality. Second, conduct either predictive or convergent validity to establish that the scale can predict the tendency of the individual to have a Tagasalo personality. And lastly is to proceed with establishing the test, scoring, and norming. So, what are the implications of this study? So, Tagasalo personality is an interesting topic to study further, especially in Filipino psychology. In this study, it validated and extended our existing knowledge about Tagasalo. Because of this, it will be a beneficial contribution to the theoretical and practical aspect of psychology, specifically in Filipino psychology. Theoretically, the Tagasalo personality scale moves in a different direction from the traditional Tagasalo, which was introduced by Dr. Karandang and Dr. Odarbe. The traditional Tagasalo personality focuses on the individual's interaction within the family. However, this study did not only focus on taking care within the family members, but it also explores on how Tagasalo personality manifests in the daily life of an individual. And it found out that the Tagasalo personality is not limited to taking care of the family members, but it can also be extended in taking care of other people who is not a family member. This may imply that Tagasalo personality leans towards a pro-social behavior and can be contextualized in a more Filipino construct. On a practical note, this scale can be used as an assessment tool to identify whether the person has a tendency to have a Tagasalo personality, since too much pananalo may lead to being burnt out and may cause future mental health problems. A therapy focusing on facilitating awareness of the Tagasalo behavior may be an effective approach to develop a healthier functioning of a Tagasalo. And lastly, this scale may also be utilized in researches as a tool to measure the Tagasalo personality. Having a valid and reliable tool in measuring Tagasalo personality may lead to new findings on how this construct may be correlated or may have an effect to other variables in research.
For the second presenter, here's your question. What are the inclusion criteria for the FGD participants?
So, hi, good morning. Okay, so what I did in choosing my participant was to create a checklist. Okay, so this checklist was based from the 9 patterns of behavior by Dr. Odarbe. So, I created a checklist where uh, pinakalat ko na siya with dun sa mga college students. And from there, dun ako nag-identify kung sino yung mga mas maraming check or parang lahat naka-check doon. So yun na yung naging criteria ko in choosing the FGD participants.
So there's another question here for Ardeen. How can the constructs of the Tagasalo personality be compared with the constructs of mindfulness?
Okay, so hi, good morning again. So thank you for that question. But I think Tagasalo construct is different from mindfulness. Perhaps being Tagasalo might have the awareness that they have this own needs of helping other people and or other members of the family, but I don't think it's the same construct with mindfulness. So thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. Uh, Let me go through our Facebook page and see if there are any other questions. For people still in the Zoom room, if you have any more questions for our panelists, please do type in our chat. Hmm. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any more questions. Uh, Congratulations and thank you to all our presenters today. It was wonderful hearing about your research, especially since this is from a region that I'm from also. So thank you again, Doc Lally, Ma'am Ardeen, and Sir Richard. I'll turn the floor over again to ABC.